You know, when I first saw this Blu-ray, I immediately thought this was a remake of the Night of the Galactic Railroad. I mean, look, this is Giovanni. Then I realized that the title is different, so I was confused. But it's not a remake. There are people I know who thought it was a remake, so they didn't watch it. And it's such a shame because this is a wonderful anime. The Life of Gusko Budori is a 2012 fantasy anime film directed by Gisaburo Sugi, making this his second animated film based on Kenji Miyazawa's work. And just like his Night of the Galactic Railroad film, he used a humanoid cat character design instead of humans. This is actually a remake of a 1994 anime film, which I did not see by the way, but that film uses humans as the characters. So the story is about Budori, a hardworking guy who lives the sweet normal life with his family, who consists of his parents and his little sister Neri. They live a fortunate life. Their forest is filled with food and they have good schools, but then the worst thing happens. The weather changed on them drastically. It became harsher, like the sun became drier, spring was hotter than usual, and then the winter stayed all the way through the summer, which resulted in a huge loss of their resources. Their forest is basically dead and it's not fertilized anymore. They can't harvest any food, the schools are shut, there are no jobs anymore, and their worst enemy, starvation, began to consume them all. Budori remains strong throughout all of this, even when his parents disappear and he has to take care of his little sister. But then a magical, mysterious cat appears out of nowhere and kidnaps Neri. Being alone, Budori decides to leave his home and search for a new life. And throughout his journey, he meets many people who are mystical, mysterious, and charming. Oh my god, I love this story, everything about it. The world has that steampunk theme, the story and characters have a magical and bizarre atmosphere to them. The fantasy elements have the subtlety which made it more mysterious and fantastical. There is a huge emphasis on farming and geology, and the message of being better to help others is portrayed in a very lovely way. Unlike Night of the Galactic Railroad, there is a mystery throughout the entire film, and it's slowly being revealed, and it ends in a way that it requires some attention for understanding it, and when I did, I almost cried. Budori is marvelous. He is handled better than Giovanni in every way. It's like Giovanni was a prototype and Budori was the final product. He is full of life and filled with optimism. He loves reading and has this thirst for knowledge. He gets emotional when bad things happen, and whenever he's going to cry, he remains strong and just decides to move forward, to learn and study, and it's crucial to the plot. The more he studies, the better chance of him reaching his goal, so the plot progresses when he studies. And that is brilliant, because as a viewer, I was rooting for him to learn. As for the side characters, I loved every one of them, even the ones who appeared for a few minutes. They are so different from one another, each have their own identity, and especially Kubo. He is one of the best teachers in anime, period. He is so crazy, charming, and goofy. Okay, let's talk about the most obvious thing that let people watch or dismiss this anime. These are the same character designs of Night of the Galactic Railroad, and I don't mean similar, they are the exact same designs, but they are different characters. It's so weird. It's like those are real actors who just played different roles. Budori looks exactly like Giovanni, and other character designs from Night of the Galactic Railroad also appears, like the birdcatcher who has a very wonderfully bizarre scene, and the blind telegrapher appeared for a few seconds, and I wasn't distracted by it at all. Why? Because I missed those designs. I missed the humanoid animals in anime, and I never thought I would see a modern anime like this. I mean, they look so awesome, especially the mysterious cat. This is by far the coolest looking cat I've seen in any anime. Even the characters who barely there get a lot of attention to detail. And speaking of details, the world is exquisite. It is so colorful. The forest looks so beautiful. I've never seen tomatoes look this delicious. And I'm a sucker for these types of backgrounds. They have this handmade look. And the city of Ihatov looks so amazing, being all steampunky. It reminds me a lot of Hamlin City from Ni no Kuni. The animation is perfect for this anime. There isn't any big action scenes, but every scene is very fluid. There wasn't a scene where it was lower in quality. They even used some real-life puppets in a scene, and it did not feel like it was out of place, just like the CGI. There is a minimum use of it. It's only for the machineries like the vehicles and whatnot, and they were pretty to look at. They have the same color palettes of everything else, so they did not look out of place, and their animations were not choppy. And that's all I want when it comes to CGI in anime. Make it look fluid, make the colors the same as the anime itself so that it blends well with the traditional animation. Do that and I'm happy. The soundtrack uses a lot of folk music, like pipes and flutes. It complements everything in the film. It's something you hear from towns and villages you visit in a JRPG, and that is never a bad thing for a fantasy anime like this. It's really hard not to mention Life of the Galactic Railroad when talking about this anime, because they share similar themes and messages. It's like the director took everything from that movie and made it better. The main character is a better version of Giovanni. The side characters have more personality. Art and animation will not age anytime soon. The pacing is way better here. There wasn't a boring moment at all. And the message of death, like Life of the Galactic Railroad, is portrayed in a magical way here that is better in my opinion. It made it less scary and more on the side of it's what makes life beautiful, that we have to savor every moment we have because death can snatch our lives at any moment. And that's what drives Budori and making him a memorable character. He became a better person the more he studied.